Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me on this Monday. I almost said Friday because I'm used to it, but this isn't a regular episode of Big Man We Dram. Hasn't been a regular episode since in a couple of months because I've been shooting so much and traveling so much that it just hasn't been able to get stuff set up the way I'd like to. And one of the things I wanted to do is to come on here briefly today to talk about a couple of things that I'm working on and that are pretty excited about, and talk about the timeline related to those. I'm about to just go on summer holidays, and while I'm there, I'm not going to be doing this. But what I am going to do is when I come back the last week of August, probably we're going to start a whole fall segment. But even that is probably going to get interrupted because I'm going to be spending part of September in Germany. As some of you might know, I'm working on a film with our good friend Udo Sontag. We're making a film about beer culture in Bavaria. One of the things that I've been lucky enough to over the last few years to discover, because we've been traveling with the whiskey film, is just how deep and rich the culture surrounding beer is in Germany. Not about German beer in and of itself, but the culture surrounding it. How many different activities there are, how much society there are social venues built around it, clubs and hiking and festivals, and not just Oktoberfest. And as a matter of fact, I'm not really that interested in that because that's its own thing, and it's great and it's huge, and it doesn't need me to tell its story. But there are, throughout Upper Franconia, a region within Bavaria, there are 299 breweries in what would be the equivalent of a county in the U.S. One county, 299 breweries, and there are so many amazing aspects of them above and beyond just the beer. The beer's great. And one of the things that really piqued my interest from a creative standpoint was meeting with Udo, talking with Udo, and more importantly, drinking beer with Udo. Something dawned on me that for the last 20 years, the American beer scene has been obsessed, the craft beer movement has been obsessed with innovation in beer. And that's great. I love it. I drink it. There's some in my refrigerator now. I drink it all the time. But there was something different in Germany where instead of this relentless pursuit of innovation, it's a relentless pursuit of perfection. It's like, these are the styles of beer that we make, and we're just going to make them better and better and better. And we've been doing it for 1,000 years. One of the oldest breweries in the world is in Bavaria. Probably the oldest. There's actually a couple that fight about it, which one is. But Weihenstephaner, in a couple of years, they're going to turn 1,000 years old. When it says on the walls, site 1040, my brain doesn't register 1040 as a year. It registers that as a time of day. I want to look at my watch when I hear 1040. So I just think there's an incredibly exciting story there. I just spent most of a month there with Alphonse and with Udo and the local crew there as well, filming. We're going to go back in September, do a little bit more. And a lot of people who will tune into this know I'm also we're in post-production on the film about independent bottling, which is going to be a companion film to The Water of Life. And I'm hoping to be able to premiere that film in a few months' time in Scotland. We've got some cool things in the works on that. And, part of that is, I'll tell you, I just got back from Scotland. We did a tour. We partnered with our friends at Rascal and Thorn, which is a gastronomic tour company. And they built a whiskey tour around the whiskeys featured in the film. And for the first one, we focused on Islay. And so we're going to be doing some more in some other regions of Scotland. And I think that there's probably something we're going to be able to do where we're going to screen the independent bottling film, in Scotland as part of one of those. So there'll be more details. I don't have dates yet or anything. I have targeted dates. I'm hoping to do it in the spring. But we might have the film done sooner than that. It remains to be seen. But then one of the other things that I'm really, really interested in is, our friend Carrie Moynihan took Alphonse and I to Germany, Ireland in October of last year for her podcast. And we were filming some footage for her podcast and stuff like that. And I knew going in that there was so much exciting creative energy going on in Irish whiskey that I felt like there was an opportunity, if we act in a timely manner, to tell a story that The Water of Life tells the story of what is happening in Scotland, but it's been happening for a while. Right now, it's happening in Ireland, like weekly. And one of the most exciting things that I came across when I was there, and it's all thanks to Facebook friends through whiskey, just writing to people in Ireland and asking Ian Garrett among others. Tell me some exciting things going on in Irish whiskey. And so a lot of people gave me some ones, and I had never heard at this point, this is a year, 10 months ago now, I'd never heard of Killowen Distillery. But not only have I now heard of it, I've now been there, and I'm now quite taken with it. And I've now got loads of Killowen whiskey here. Sorry, focus problems. There we go. And so this Friday on July 7th, I'm going to do a special episode of Big Man We Dram and talk about my ideas about Irish whiskey, what's going on with Irish whiskey. And my guest is going to be Brendan Carty, from the owner and head distiller at Killowen Distillery. There's such a huge young movement in Ireland right now of just, it's so reminiscent and echoes so many ways of some of the things we read about and learned about with people from Scotland about, it's inventing a bold new future by exploring our past, seeing what we've lost, and embracing the best of it, but not being, burdened by it, not being obsessed with the color of the paper on the label, or does it look old timey enough, and not, sort of overdoing the kitsch of it all, but really kind of embracing this drink and the core of it and the heart of it. And it's funny. I mean, I can't even keep up with Killowen. We'll get much more into this when I talk to Brendan on Friday. But there's so many. There's different bottles, and I'm going to find out from Brendan, because I don't know what why some of these come in one shape bottle and one in the other. I'm sure there is a reason, but I don't know what that reason is. And like so many of the young distillers in Ireland right now are making poitín as well. And I've got a number of different poitíns from Killowen and from other places as well. And, it's funny because so many distilleries, when they would start up in Scotland in the last 20 years or so, they would make gin as a way. It doesn't have to be aged. You could get it on the shelves in a month. And I feel like in Ireland, a lot of these new distilleries are making poitín. And for those of you who don't know what that is, tune in on Friday, and I'll have someone who can do a much better job of explaining poitín than I can. But I can tell you, it's an unaged Irish spirit. That's pot still spirit that's unaged. Not dissimilar to new make in a lot of ways, but designed to be drunk that way. So it's not just, it tends to have a lot more going on in the nuances than like moonshine would, or something that was just sort of made under pressure or made urgently. These are for example, this is one of 3 bottles of poitín I have. This is part of this trials that they did, and they're all different, made with different yeasts, experimental yeast and wheat. And this one is made with Norwegian Kveik. It's a wheat variety, and Saccharomyces cerevisiae, brewer's yeast. And then the other ones, which I don't have with me right now, are different as well. So there's actually just an insane amount of experimentation going on. And just the other day, I was listening to Brenda do a live thing about some of the first U.S. casks that they've done some special releases for the U.S. now, and was talking about how they produce roughly 3/4 of one cask a week. That's the size of the distillery we're talking about. That's the size. That's how incredibly hands-on this is. I mean, it's for them. I think there's 3 people that work in one capacity or another with Killowen, but I think it's a lot of this is very hands-on. Brendan alone, and he could talk to us more about that. So I hope you'll join me on Friday when we do one of these as well. And there's a number of other little sort of side projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. One of the things we want to do is we really think there's an incredibly compelling, emotional story about a place in Scotland called the Cabric, which is very close to Duffton and yet has had its population absolutely decimated. And there's an incredibly inspirational story going on there right now that we're hoping to tell. It's going to come down to financing, frankly. And there's other ones that we're developing as well. Last fall I went to spend a week in Kentucky. That's sort of very much burbling as well. I just can only do one at a time, or obviously that's not true. I'm doing like 2 at a time right now. But again, so we'll be back in August to do some more. I'll keep everybody updated. We're going to start rolling out some social media accounts and things for Prost, which is going to be the name of the beer film. And it's going to be, similar in style and structure to the Water of Life. And I hope you'll all, follow us along on that ride as well. And in the meantime, though, get a dram of Irish whiskey and join me on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. East Coast, 9 p.m. in Britain and Ireland. So 10 p.m. in Germany or wherever else you might be watching in Europe. I really hope you guys will join us and have some cool questions. And I will tell you this quickly because I didn't. Let me see. I can throw this in the chat. I'll tell you. That's what I'll do. I'll throw this in the chat. I'm going to throw it up here as well. But this is a Folsom Wine Spirits. It's a California liquor store that does do shipping. And if you're in a place where they will ship, they can ship you the some of these incredible Killowen whiskeys. And there's a comic amount of these single casks and that they have in there. So I hope you guys will check that out as well. And let me hear one more thing. Let me do this here. Yes, here we go. I'm going to post this in the chat so you can. Just an example of one of the specials they've got going on right now on one of these things. I just think it's an amazing whiskey. Everyone's different. And, like I said, we'll talk a lot more in depth about it on Friday, and you'll see, I think, why I'm so inspired by the whole thing. And I might even try to get a second special guest to join us as well. So we'll see if we can pull that off. So anyway, I hope you guys all have a great 4th of July for those of us here in the States. I'm going to try to stop working early today. I spent all morning at the Apple store getting my computer worked on, but seems to be working fine now. See you guys on Friday. Cheers.